Hi, welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. I'm Kara, and today we're creating a little Easter Happy Mail with a pop-up Easter basket inside. I'm using Happy Wavy Sayings and Some Bunny, pop-up smile in white cardstock, sunburst backdrop, also in white, stitched rectangle frames in white, lots of colors in the Build-A-Basket Easter and Build-A-House Spring add-on. Also, the How You Bend Shaker add-on and fancy wavy banners. Starting with that fancy wavy banner in sticky note cardstock, I'm using my anti-static powder to heat emboss. This is clear ink, and I will stamp that down. And I'm going to use silver embossing powder. Just sprinkle that on, and then I will heat that with my heat gun, and I'll do that off camera, but here it is, all set. This fancy wavy banner is the Z-fold one. There are 3 in that die set, but this one you just fold it back and forth, and just like the name suggests, you have a fancy wavy banner. All right, on to the rest of the card front. I cut this flower box from the Build-A-House Spring add-on in the silver mirror paper and then in cilantro, and just clipped off the flowers of the silver. So now we have a silver flower box, probably a galvanized steel flower box, and these little teeny tiny, so cute tulips you can die cut them out 3 together, and so that's what I did. And I used a combination of regular cardstocks and textured dot cardstock in brights and pastels. Now here I have the mailbox, also from the Build-A-House Spring add-on, and it opens up and there is a back to it, so I cut that out of textured shimmer gray cardstock just to have a back on there. And the mailbox itself is from the silver mirror cardstock. And then the red flag is actually raspberry cardstock. So with the red flag up, it indicates that we have mail to send. So I want to get that popped up there and just glue it down on the back of my mailbox. But then we also need mail to put into that box. And so here are the little envelopes, and I'm just gonna arrange them, see how I like them in there. It helped a lot to have that craft pick to kind of move things around. And once I had them the way I wanted them, I put a little glue on my finger and just added some glue to the back of the envelopes and popped them back in there. And now to create the scene. I'm using Nadia Remix. This is a 12 by 12, and I'm deciding where on that plaid I want the scene to go, so that kind of those, you see the darkest raspberry color lines that kind of make an X, kind of point everything towards the middle of my scene, kind of giving the focus to the mailbox. So I'm just gluing that rectangle frame down, and then I'll just cut that out around the back so that it's all set to go. Now I can put my fences in and my little mailbox, and the flower boxes are going to hang right on the fence. I have some little clouds, and they come from the center picture window card, and I thought they would bring some white up to the top of the scene. Glued everything on with the Lawn Fawn glue tube, and I'm going to put this little scene on the sunburst backdrop. So I'm putting it in the horizontal position, and I'm moving it up just a little so that my banner is also centered on there. I mean, the whole thing together would be centered. Just put some adhesive on the back of my scene and pop it on there. So that sunburst backdrop works very well with the circle for like the magic iris, but it also works great for a rectangle scene as well. I'm gluing together all the folds of the fancy wavy banner. Sometimes I don't glue all of that down because I like to pop it up in different ways, but I wanted everything flat on this one. And so I put some glue on both sides of the banner and put it on. And look, this card is done. So all I need to do is put a little bit of adhesive on the back and put it on a 4¼ by 5½ inch note card. But wait, there's more. We're going to put something on the inside. So this card would be great just on its own. Happy Mail is here, but I decided this was going to be an Easter card to mail to someone. So I'm using the pop-up smile and I'm bending everything at the score lines, but I decided to reinforce those lines with my bone folder just to make it easier for myself. So once I have those all scored, just to reinforce those lines, now I am just bending each of those folds. And I bend one way and then the other, just a little at a time until they all bend nicely the way I want, and I can fold it down. And then I'll take my bone folder and crease those folds just to make sure everything is crisp. And look, there it is. Now it could be just like that. Put the word smile in there, maybe make those letters out of the same Nadia remix paper in Oliver's ABCs, but instead I'm going to use it as a base for a basket. Now I shaded things with Copic markers, but I'll tell you, you do not need to do that. It really didn't show up enough, so I'm not going to show all the shading, but just kind of tell you what I did in case you are interested in it. It's the E40s for shading everything, but then I glued on the front of the basket. I just love this weave. It's just so intricate. And then I shaded my grass. I shaded everything. So I'm using YG03 and YG11 on the light grass, and on the cilantro I used a YG05 and 03. That light grass is from the textured dot cardstock in pastels, and I decided I was going to put some grass in front and behind, and I didn't need to do all that either because you won't see the grass behind. I build up this so much that you wouldn't see that. The basket has an opening at the top, and so I would put the front grass inside that opening and just let that show through the front. But I wanted 2 rows of grass, and so I added this to the fabric liner that's going to show on the front of the basket. Now there's many places you could glue down this handle. You could glue it in the front and hide it with the fabric liner like I'm doing here, or in the back, or you could tuck it in the center of the basket because there's that slit that opens up. Now that I have my basket the way I want it, it's time for some chocolate. So if I put this eggshell cardstock behind, it looks like those white chocolate accents, but I'm actually going to make 2 solid Easter bunnies here. One will be white chocolate in speckled egg cardstock, and the other will be milk chocolate, and that is in chocolate bar cardstock. Now the basket itself is a combination of paper bag and kraft cardstock, so a nice variety of browns. Really, every Easter basket should have a solid chocolate Easter bunny in it. And now to add those cute little bows around their necks, and that's Guava Cardstock. I love the details in this die set. Next comes the bow, and that's also Nadia Remix pattern paper. Just kind of fold down those 2 ends and put a little glue in the middle. Push those together, and then that little tail gets wrapped around in the center. And I'll put a little bit of glue there on the other side and hold that with my tweezers to let it dry. And while it's drying, I'm going to assemble my Easter eggs. I cut some from the Nadia pattern paper, but also from the textured dot cardstock in brights and pastels, and some from the regular cardstock. So there's Moonstone and Sunflower and Ballet Slippers and Apricot. But what was so nice about that textured dot cardstock is that it just added shading. So I have some darker and some lighter colors. So I really like the mixture together. And now it's just a matter of arranging everything where I want it in the basket. So I'm going to tuck that white chocolate bunny behind. I don't know who gets two bunnies in their basket, but that's pretty nice. All right, glue everything down, tuck that into the slit that's in the basket, and then I decided I wanted an extra egg, so I'm just going to add that on the back. And I have my basket full of eggs and bunnies, and I'm just going to put on the final touch with a bow. I try to simplify the Easter baskets and Christmas stockings for my kids by giving myself a formula. So each Easter they get a new umbrella because theirs are always broken by that time, and a DVD, a chocolate Easter bunny, jelly beans, and when they were little, a stuffed animal. Then they hunt around the living room looking for plastic eggs full of little chocolates. They still do that, even though it's just the living room and it's very hard to hide anything. And they're 17 and 19, but who doesn't like the chocolate, right? All right, well, to build up the scene and hide the S and E from smile, I'm going to glue some extra eggs down on the bottom, and I'm also going to add some grass down there and some jelly beans. So this is just another way to use the pop-up smile. It's a nice size because it's not too big. I don't have to make a great big scene down there because the word is short, but it really is a nice pop-up base for just about anything, as long as you can hide those letters or incorporate those letters into whatever you want to pop up. Just gluing on those jelly beans, and I did go through and shade all of those as well. Uh, I didn't need to shade these, I didn't think, but I did. Then I tucked in a little more grass, and I'm ready to put it in the center, close up my card, and it's too tall. Now, this is the time in the show when they break for commercial to increase the suspense, but they always come back with a less dramatic solution, and so am I. All I have to do is cut down the basket handle and make it lower. So I'm putting it into the card and figuring out how low to put that handle, and then I'll mark it with my pencil, and crisis averted. I'll tuck it down into the back, and then it will be just the right height to go in the card. I'll put some glue on there, and I'm going to clip it with my tweezers so that it will dry. And there we go. Ta-da! All right, well, I want a sentiment inside to say Happy Easter. And so I'm taking that from the Some Bunny stamp set, and I'm going to silver heat emboss that to kind of match the silver heat embossing on the front. Then people will understand why they have a basket inside this card. And I melted that with my heat gun, and heating up that base of the card warped my card a bit, so I took an iron and pressed it underneath the heat embossed area so that it would be flat. Now I'm taking some 1/4-inch double-sided tape, and I'm going to just take the release paper off of one side first, and I'll press that down into the card. I'll make sure it's right on the fold and fold it up. See how it works? And it's all sealed up on the top part, and now I can take off the release paper on the bottom, fold it closed once again, and that will seal it on both sides. And this card is all set. Happy Mail is here to wish you a happy Easter. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video today and it inspired you to make a pop-up card of your own. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!